This teaching discusses the process of entering into covenant with our Father in heaven and our Messiah. The bride of Messiah must prepare herself to enter into covenant with him upon his return. She must become equally yoked with him. We do this by learning the ways of our Father in his word. We change our thoughts, words, and actions so that they are in alignment with our Father and our Messiah. It is the law of our Father which cannot be changed or deleted. There are two groups of people in the house of Yasharel: those who are in covenant with Yahuah, and the strangers who sojourn with Yasharel. Those who are in covenant with Yahuah hear and obey all of his laws written by the prophet Moshe and have adopted the nature and character of Yahuah. Strangers who sojourn with the house of Yasharel want to learn the ways of our Father. They see value in following his laws. However, they were born in a culture that did not teach them the ways of Yahuah. They have to go through the painful process of eliminating those thoughts, words, and actions that are contrary to the ways of Yahuah and start doing actions and behaviors unfamiliar to them. This process takes time. Our Father says in Shemot 12:49, "One law shall be to him that is homeborn and unto the stranger that sojourns among you." The laws of Yahuah apply to both groups of people. Strangers can be as one who is homeborn. Shemot 12:48 says, "And when a stranger shall sojourn with you, and will keep the Passover to Yahuah, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat of it." This is essentially saying that people who are not from the bloodline children of Jacob can become as if they were a bloodline child of Jacob. Being a citizen in the house of Yasharel is not dependent upon bloodlines. It is dependent upon thoughts, words, and actions that are in alignment with our Father and his word. Strangers can become like one who is homeborn, a bloodline child of Jacob. When this occurs, they are on equal footing with the bloodline children. Strangers who have not fully converted also receive an inheritance in the land of Yasharel when Messiah returns. Yechezkel 47:22-23 says, "And it shall come to pass, so that you shall divide it by lot for an inheritance to you and the strangers that sojourn among you, which bears children among you, and they shall be as one born in the country among the children of Yasharel. They shall have an inheritance with you among the tribes of Yasharel, and it shall come to pass that in the tribe where the stranger sojourns, there will you give him his inheritance, says Adonai Yahuah." Testimony tells us that Yahuah loves the strangers who sojourn with Yasharel. Yeshayahu 56:6-7 says, "Also the sons of the stranger that join themselves to Yahuah to serve him and to love the name of Yahuah, to be his servants, everyone that keeps the Shabbat from polluting it and takes hold of my covenant, even them will I bring to my set-apart mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar, for my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people." There is no shame in being a stranger who sojourns with the house of Yasharel. Many bloodline children of Jacob are strangers to the ways of our Father. Many have lost their identity. This is good because we know what it is like to be a stranger to the ways of Yahuah. We know what it feels like to be an outcast. We have empathy for those who are trying to align themselves with him. People who are a part of the house of Yasharel are to show kindness to the strangers who sojourn among them. Shemot 22:21 says, "You shall neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt." Our Father does not use coercion, pressure, force, or persuasion to convince people to enter into covenant with him. He allows people to experience what it is like to live his ways. They can ask questions and he will give them answers. They can take their time and do research. They can watch how people live his ways for as long as they like. The stranger may never want to fully embrace a covenant relationship with our Father, but there is an expectation for them to learn and abide by the laws of Yahuah written by Moshe. Bamidbar Numbers 15:29 says, "You shall have one law for him that sins through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Yasharel, and for the stranger that sojourns among them. Here's the process for entering into covenant with Yahuah and Messiah Yahusha. Number 1. People who participate in the practices of the world are curious about the ways of Yahuah. Number 2. They start asking questions and observing those who are in covenant with him. Number 3. They start learning about our Father's ways by reading and studying his word. Number 4. They review his promises and decide they would like to be a receiver of those promises. Number 5. They start making changes in their lives to be in alignment with him. Number 6. Yahuah is observing them and their sincerity. He is watching to see if the changes are permanent, even when faced with challenges. Number 7. The individual's faith grows and strengthens. Number 8. Once an individual has made the necessary changes to align themselves with all of the commandments of our Father and is fully committed to our Father, they are ready to enter into covenant with our Father and Messiah. They are equally yoked with them. Up to this point, they are a stranger who sojourns with the house of Yasharel. Once they enter into covenant with Yahuah, they have entered into covenant with the house of Yasharel as well. When people have fully entered into covenant with our Father and Messiah, they know the law of Moshe. They are able to help our Messiah teach these laws to the nations upon his return. They will be equipped to be judges and rulers with our Messiah. They are part of his government that will be established on the earth. This is a tremendous blessing because it is forever. Covenants with our Father has many advantages. Our enemies are his enemies. If someone has made themselves an enemy to you, they have also made themselves an enemy to Yahuah as well as our Messiah. Yahuah will not enter into covenant with them when they are at odds with you. Shemot 23:22 confirms this. But if you shall indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto your enemies and an adversary unto your adversaries. It is a good idea to not be enemies to people, especially those who are in covenant with Yahuah. Our enemies are also his enemies. Yahuah protects his covenant partners. Tehillim 91:1-4 says, He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of Yahuah, He is my refuge and my fortress, my Elohim. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover you with his feathers, and under his wings shall you trust. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. Yahuah, as our covenant partner, is obligated to come to our rescue and save us from our enemies. This is part of the agreement. However, he is not obligated to rescue those who are not in covenant with him. Tehillim 91 are words for his covenant partners and the strangers who have chosen to sojourn with the house of Yasharel. People who disobey his laws have placed themselves under the curse of the laws of Yahuah. He is bound by his laws. He cannot operate against the curse of his own law. Devarim 28:15 says, But it shall come to pass, if you will not hear and obey the voice of Yahuah your Elohim, to observe to do all of his commandments and his statutes which I command you this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. The laws of Yahuah stand forever and cannot be changed or deleted. If people disobey his laws, they are under the curse of the law. If he protected someone who disobeyed his laws, then he would have to protect all people who disobeyed his laws, because he's not a respecter of persons. If he blessed someone who disobeys his laws, then what good are his laws? We rely upon him to follow through on all of his promises, good or bad. If he can break his laws regarding the curses, then he can also break his laws regarding his promises. Then where would we be? How can trust be established if someone can break their own promises at every whim? This is why he abides by all of his laws. We literally tie his hands when we choose to disobey his laws. He cannot help us. Our Father states his laws. They are there for all to read and hear. He has established the boundaries. We choose to receive the outcome stated by his laws by our decisions to obey or disobey. We only have ourselves to blame for the outcome we received. His laws are firm, with very little flexibility. If he shows leniency to one, then he must show leniency for all. He must stand firm. This is another characteristic of his laws that we must understand. If Yahuah can do anything and change any of his laws at any time, then why didn't he change the laws that required Messiah Yahushua to be brutally tortured and killed by crucifixion? Wouldn't that make him look like a mean and cruel Elohim in the eyes of all the nations? Our Father was bound by his own laws. He could not change or delete his laws. However, they could be fulfilled by a second Adam if he was willing to do so. Messiah Yahushua is the second Adam, and he was willing to fulfill the laws of our Father and go through this brutal torture and death by crucifixion to save mankind. As a result of his great sacrifice, Yahuah gave Yahushua everything that he possibly could as a reward. People who deny Messiah Yahushua will not be given the time of day by our Father in heaven. They are not in a good place. Yahushua's enemies are Yahuah's enemies because they are covenant partners. This is not negotiable. The same is true in our case as well. If you would like to learn more about covenant and the laws of our Father, we encourage people to review our articles under community. We are just barely touching the tip of the iceberg in these videos. Our Father is so wonderful. He is kind and patient. He is merciful and caring. He truly desires our hearts, but they must be freely given without threats or coercion. Please visit us at ourfathersway.com to learn more.